Hello! So in today's video I'm going to be reviewing You'd Look Better as a Ghost, and this is a book I fairly recently read. As you may have noticed, I haven't been posting in a couple of weeks. I've had a bit of a difficult few weeks, basically since Christmas, or since my last video that I posted. I got really ill with the flu, so I was ill for about 2 weeks, so I didn't do any filming, and then my memory card broke, then my phone broke, and then my camera broke. So if the quality of this video looks different to my previous videos, it's because I've had to revert back to my old camera, which is still a good camera, not as good as my very expensive vlogging camera, which I'm gonna have to try and sort out hopefully in the next few weeks. But for now I'm going to be working with this one, and I have loads of books to review because, like I said, it's been a long time since I last posted and I have been reading a lot. I just haven't been able to post anything. So you might recognise this book from, I think it might have been like Christmas's Abominable Book Club box. And I remember seeing this and thinking, oh, this looks really good. I was really excited to get into this book. It follows a female serial killer. And from reading the blurb and like the front cover and everything, you got the vibe that it was going to be quite a funny book. It says delightfully shocking, refreshingly original, laugh out loud, funny. And I have to say it definitely did cheer me up when I was feeling not so great during the flu. Which is a weird thing to say about a book about a serial killer, but I'll get into a bit more of the story. So basically you have the main character Claire, and she is going through the grieving process. She recently lost her father, who was diagnosed with dementia, and then his health rapidly declined and he ended up in a care home where he passed away. And she's dealing with the grief of her father, and she's trying to get back to feeling like her normal serial killer self. So she ends up going to a grief counselling group, which is a bit like an AA group, but for grief instead of, you know, substances or substance abuse. So yeah, it was funny. The group had a variety of different characters and you get to know a few of them, and you're reading from Claire's perspective, and I really enjoyed that because I found her way of commenting on the things going on around her funny. She was an interesting character. I wouldn't say she was likeable though. I'm one of those people where I can read a book and I don't have to like the main character. As long as the plot and the storyline is interesting, I can get into the story. And this was kind of a case with this book. I found her funny, and a few of her comments were a little bit relatable. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but I have tabbed a few moments in this book. I have a few tabs here and a few along the side, just of things that I found funny or amusing or relatable. You're like, yeah, I can kind of see that. But then obviously she takes things a little bit further because she is a serial killer. But it was funny in the fact that she basically just kills people who are a minor inconvenience to her. Like, someone will make a comment and she's like, I don't like that, I'm gonna go after you. So the scenes in this, the murder scenes in this, obviously she's a serial killer, so there's going to be killing scenes. They are quite amusing, like her commentary on them are amusing, but the acts themselves are quite gruesome. Like, it is quite graphic. It does describe the way she kills various different people, and she uses different methods for each person. She kind of seems to decide in her mind when she sees the person, that's how she's going to off them. And yeah, You'd Look Better as a Ghost, she kind of starts her targets, her victims that she targets. Yeah, she kind of just like sees them as ghosts, and she's like, ah, you're my next victim. But there is some mystery to this book, and there is a bit of a thriller aspect to this book, because somebody has found out who she is, and she is trying to uncover who that person is. And it's a very fast-paced book. There are hints to it quite early on, but there's several things in this book where you're like, oh well, I was surprised a couple of times. I give this book overall a 4-star. I only knocked it down 1 star because towards the end I felt like it dragged on a little bit. It was fast paced all the way through, and then the next few chapters, like, you think the whole thing's wrapped up and you're like, oh, but there's still like all these other chapters to go, and then other stuff happens and you're like, oh, okay. And it becomes a little bit like unbelievable towards the end. Where you're like, okay, this is like alright. But nevertheless, it was still very amusing. It definitely, like I said, kept me going during my flu. Even like when on my worst days, I was like, do you know what? I'm bored just to entertain myself. I had like a really bad headache, really bad chest, but I was like, I may as well amuse myself with some good old serial killer action. So yeah, I would recommend it if you're into those kinds of books. If you're looking for something like that's not too heavy, it's a thriller, a serial killer thriller book, but it's not, it doesn't feel too heavy. Like, there's a bit of mystery to it, of like a whodunit, or who's gonna catch her, or are they gonna catch her, like what's gonna happen, is she gonna get away with it, is she gonna figure out who the person is. Yeah, it's a good story, it's an interesting story. I liked the characters. All the characters in her grief group are also very different and interesting characters, and you along with her are trying to figure out who could it be that could be this person. And yeah, it kind of felt like a little bit of a race against time. And yeah, it was a good fun read, not too serious. Like I said, the killing scenes are quite graphic, and there are quite a few from the get-go. I think there's like 3 in quite rapid succession, and they are graphic. But yeah, if you don't mind that, I would recommend picking this book up. It was a bit of fun, and like I said, not too serious, and yeah, it was just overall quite an enjoyable read. I was very pleased by this. I don't think I have too much more to say. I've started making like little notes in the beginnings of my books, or like sticky notes, so I can remember to add in things, or I just make notes for future reference. This is a book I would probably reread just because I found her narration quite amusing. And I just put some of my notes at the front here: a 4 out of 5 star, female serial killer, funny, graphic, interesting story, unlikable but likable main character. So yeah, I don't think everyone's gonna like the main character. I think people might find her very abrasive, a little bit abrupt, and a bit like, oh, kind of a person, which could still work in the story. But like I said, if you're someone who you really have to be rooting for the main character, and you really have to be invested in the main character, you might not like this story. It might not be for you. But if you're someone who you can still enjoy unlikable characters in stories, as long as there's more going for it, if you like a bit of mystery, like a whodunit, then yeah, I would recommend this book. So that's everything I have to say on this book. I'm going to get on to filming a few more videos. I think I'm going to film 2 more book reviews. I have, what do I have to review? I have the Time Machine and Nails and Eyes to review in this video. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm not going to ramble on for too much longer. If you enjoyed this book or are interested in this book, then drop me some comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. I did see a few on Instagram, like overall, like on Goodreads, it got a pretty good reviews, but I have seen a couple floating around on Instagram where they weren't so keen on it. So yeah, just another thought. Let me know what you guys think. So as always, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye guys.